Musashi was born in 1584. He was not the firstborn. His half-brother was named Shirota. There are 3 different places that Musashi might have been born at, but the most probable is Hararina province. Musashi's father was a vassal to the Lord Shinman, and actually Musashi is a court title. Musashi went under different names. Munisai divorced his second wife, Yoshika, who was Musashi's mother. Munisai then married again, which Musashi did not get along with well. Even when Musashi was in his youth, his relationship with his father was dissipating, and he began to make difficult trips over the mountains to visit Yoshiko and their family. Musashi, or Benosuke, as he was called in his youth, watched his father martial arts, and as he got older, he started to be marked at his father's martial abilities. Then one day, when Munisai was carving a toothpick, his son approached and began criticizing his Jule technique until Munisai took the dagger he was using to carve and threw it at Musashi Benosuke. Musashi dodged it, and it became lodged in the pillar behind him. Munisai became furious and took out his short sword and threw it as well. Munisai dodged this, and after that incident, he ran off to be a resident with his uncle, who then taught him how to read and write. This happened at the age of 7. Age 13. Musashi's first successful duel was at age 13 when he challenged a swordsman named Arima Kihei, who accepted the challenge, not knowing Musashi's age. So when Kihei found out that Musashi was only 13, an apology was held instead of a duel. But when the time of the apology was to happen, Musashi charged Kihei. Kihei was not expecting this, but he was able to dodge the blow and withdrew his wakizaki and stance at Musashi. But then after they fought for a short time, Musashi threw away his staff and started to grapple with Kihei, which then Musashi grabbed and threw him head first. Then Musashi recovered his staff and beat Kihei to death. Then in 1599, 3 years later, Musashi left his adopted hometown at age 16. Age 21, 1604. From 1599 to 1604, Musashi had challenged and won multiple duels, fought in a year-long battle, Asahihara. Then in 1604, Musashi challenged Shijiro of the Yoshiki clan to a duel. Shijiro was armed with a real sword while Musashi carried a bukun. Musashi and Shijiro fought, but Musashi landed the first blow, which collapsed Shijiro, and he fell unconscious. Then Shijiro's younger brother, challenged Musashi to a duel to stabilize his family's name, and he was also outraged and wished to seek revenge. His opponent carried a 5-foot-long wooden sword that was sharpened at the end. When the duel began, Shijiro, angry, attacked Musashi, but he dodged the first blow and wrestled the sword away from Shijiro and stabbed him through. After this, the Yoshiki clan became revengeful, and another match was arranged with Musashi, son of Shijiro, last generation of Yoshiko clan. But the clan's real plan was a battle, and there was no room for another defeat. So they brought more than 100 bowsmen armed with swords and spears, even rifles. Musashi found out about this trap and planned a strategic attack and escape route. By dawn, he was waiting for Shijiro and his troops. Then at night, Shijiro and his troops arrived muttering that their opponent would be late. Then suddenly, Musashi jumped from behind a pine and yelled, "Did I keep you waiting?" Age 29, 1612. Musashi's most famous duel was against a famous and skilled swordsman named Sasaki Kojiro, broadly known as the Demon of the West Provinces, and his weapon of choice was a nodashi. Over 3 feet, two-handed sword, which became known as the Dying Pole. Kojiro designed a technique that, with his nodashi, could cut a dove's tail from the sky. Musashi and Kojiro agreed on a duel that would be held at a small island less than 2 miles long, known as Anato no Shima, which meant the island over there. The time the duel was supposed to be held at was 7 to 9 a.m. But Musashi arrived from 8 to 11. This ticked off Kojiro, who asked if his late arrival was because of fear. Musashi ignored this and continued to advance. Kojiro struck at Musashi's head, but at the same time, that instant Musashi struck Kojiro directly on the head. But the tip of Kojiro's sword cut the towel that Musashi used to keep his hair out of the way. Musashi's blow killed Kojiro. In 1602, a year-long war began between Toyotomi and Tokugawa. The cause of the war was fear of rebellion against Toyotomi. Musashi fought through the year-long war and was engaged in 6 battles, but in the end, Toyotomi clan lost the war. But unlike samurai, Musashi was not abolished by being on the losing side. Age 62, 1645. On May 1645, Musashi died in Rigondo Cave. In his last request, his body was dressed in armor and placed in a coffin and buried at Tanagayuji village. In 1654, Musashi's adopted son, Airo, placed a stone monument for Musashi at Mount Tamuki